All right. Good evening, everyone. Tonight I'm sitting down with candidate for governor of Alabama, Chig Martin. Tonight we'll be discussing his policy plan and why he feels that Alabamians should vote for him as the next governor. So how you doing tonight, Chad?
Hey, doing good, man. Thank you so much. I know we've had this plan for like a month or two, so I'm glad that the night finally got here.
Yes, sir. Me too. So I'm going to dive right into it. So this is your third campaign for governor of Alabama. For viewers who may not know you yet, who is Chig Martin and why is becoming governor something that you have continued to pursue?
Yeah, and just to make sure that everybody understands, the first time I was not on the ballot in Alabama, which is really important. I've been on the ballot two times here in the state of
Okay.
Alabama. This will make the
Gotcha.
second time. So yeah, I haven't run on the ballot three times. I ran as a write-in independent the first go around, and then this will be my second time on the ballot. And you said why? And I say why not? I mean, we're 47th in education, sixth in poverty. Things just aren't working out for us when it comes to those type of things here in Alabama. I'm a small businessman that I cut my teeth in the state of Alabama, and hey, baby, you hold on for a minute. Yeah, and so I'm sorry, I'm on the road traveling today.
Oh, you're good, man.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I went to Alabama public school. Was fortunate enough to get a full scholarship that paid for my education, and came right back to Alabama. Went to work, started at the bottom, and worked my way up through life. I tell people this because I'm proud of it. When I got out of college, my first job was selling Electrolux vacuum cleaners door to door, and worked my way through life to retire at 57 years old. So not bad. And I felt like I'm an innovative businessman. Um, I started the first hemp and CBD store in the state of Alabama history, and I just feel like with the things that the knowledge I have on the business level, I can help the state expand.
Yeah. To me personally, looking back at businessmen that come into politics that aren't career politicians, in my opinion, those are some of the most successful politicians once they come in. So you've described yourself before. I've heard you say as a business owner and not a career politician. So
Well,
from your
I've never been elected. Yeah.
right. So from your perspective, what advantages does that background give you as a candidate for governor? And
Well,
also what disadvantages does it give you?
Well, I don't really know about all the advantages and disadvantages, but I'll just tell you, I've built my career on working with people and relating to people, and that's why, quite honestly, the campaign that we're sitting here talking to right now on your show was last week the hottest campaign in the state of Alabama. Won every public polling that we could find that had been put out, even on a polling in Montgomery, Alabama, on a Facebook page with 103,000 diverse viewers. We beat Doug Jones in the poll and beat everybody else. And then several other public polls were run and we won them. So we don't base the information we're getting off of people that are paying for polls. These are just things that were laid out to the public. So we're right in the middle of this thing. We don't have the money that the other candidates have, but what I have is I have the ability to connect with Alabama citizens and let them see what a real person is trying to do for our state, and it's working right now. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I actually seen that poll and yeah, you were definitely killing it in that poll. So if you're elected for Alabama governor, what would your three biggest priorities be once you took office?
It starts with economic development. I mean, one of our biggest problems that things stem from in the state of Alabama is that we're the sixth ranked state in poverty. That causes us a lot of problems and a lot of grief across the state, from education, from health care, from just livable wages. So it starts with putting in and developing one of the top industry recruiting teams in the nation. And here's the difference. You're going to have a governor that doesn't sit there in a recliner for 11 years and do nothing and let other people run the state. I'll be actively involved helping this industry recruiting team bring new business right here to Alabama, and I know that's something I can do. And you said the other things. One of the things, I'm the only candidate that's introduced any plans that can help the people, and one is the Alabama Gaming and Healthcare Fund. I want to have 4 areas of the state where full gambling is all contained in those 4 areas, with lodging, with entertainment, run by Alabama citizens, making good wages with benefits. And I want all of this money. I don't want to contract any services out. I want the state to run these. And I want that money to go right back in to helping our citizens offset healthcare costs. I want it to help rural hospitals in Alabama, keep them afloat because they are dying right in front of our eyes. I want to have basic healthcare centers in poor rural areas of the state where people, to me, healthcare is not a political thing. It's a humanitarian thing. And we've got to give people up. You can't expect people in the 6th ranked state in poverty to be able to afford these outrageous healthcare prices. And so I want to create an economic mechanism that works for us in our state by helping our citizens. And if, for example, if you make $20,000 a year, you'll probably get a little bit more from this to help towards your insurance, and kind of works its way up like that. But this is not asking the government for money. This is just having smart political leadership, putting things in place that help support our citizens.
Yeah, that is a outstanding idea that I haven't necessarily heard. I heard about the the 4 zones that you were talking about for entertainment. I've heard you speak about that before, but I hadn't heard you tie it into the healthcare the way you just did. And that, to me, that is an outstanding idea, because healthcare is one of the biggest problems for pretty much all Americans, including Alabamians. And the rural hospitals, as you mentioned, that was actually my next question, but you just nailed it right on the head.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great idea.
I think, man, I think it would work for us. We already have people crossing every border to go get lottery tickets or to gamble, and let's keep those things in state. One of the things I did want to make, if you make notice of what I said, I'm tired of outsourcing and contracting services out in this state. That's where all the crookedness starts. That's where all the money changing hands starts, is when you get, it's just like our state prison system. We need to be running that where we can have accountability in our state for the monies into our prisons. We need to work on our prisons too, because first of all, there's a mixed issue about prisoners. Well, at the end of the day, I can tell you this: we need our prisoners to come out of there ready to go to work in the state of Alabama, ready to help their families and get right back into society. So I want to introduce better trade programs inside of our prisons where prisoners can possibly, and I'm talking nonviolent offenders, where they can possibly, get a license in a trade while they're in prison. And so, we've got a lot of issues that stem from contractors being in place. So that's going to be one thing I want to phase out, is using contracting services for state business.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the prisons. I know many people who may have family members in prison, stuff like that in Alabama, who are really concerned with our prison system. I know back in 2020, the Department of Justice sued Alabama over the unconstitutional conditions in prisons, citing overcrowding, violence, and failure to protect inmates. So many Alabamians believe that those issues still haven't been fully fixed. So do you have a plan to address this? And specifically, how would you go about reforming Alabama's prison system on top of you said, implementing trade programs to help them when they get out? Do you have any other ideas as far as the prison system goes?
Absolutely. And listen, and just to kind of give you an idea, we're building $1 billion prison in Alabama, and building prisons is not the recipe for success in one of the worst ranked states in poverty in America. What's the key to success is building industry, I want to introduce the Alabama Job Corps Center, and I'm getting to your prison talk, and I want to have these around the state working. I want these Job Corps centers to be teaching what industries we're going to be recruiting for that area, just to kind of get off subject a little bit. But now when it comes back to prisons, Basically, where we have some of the biggest problems in our prisons is they are inundated with different contracting services, and so that's that. I've told you that's my number one thing. The second thing we have going on is we're sending prisoners out to work hourly jobs, sometimes for 2, 3, 4 years. And I have no problem with really any of this. I mean, the prisoners sometimes make $1 to $2 an hour. It's a minimum wage job. The state gets the rest of the money. Well, what the state's doing is they're pooling this money all together as one and let it draw interest every single day. And I really don't have any problems with that. But the problem I'm having with it is sometimes these prisoners are coming up for pardon and parole, and they're saying they're denying them, and because they want to keep them out there making these hourly wages. It's gotten a little bit crooked. And I mean, the point I'm trying to make, if you've got somebody working out in the general public for up to 2 and 3 years, they're probably okay to let's put them back out there and get them to work and get them to being a productive citizen and take them off of the basically, I mean, us paying for them as a state to be in there. But we've got to focus on economic development, and that's why, and not more prisons. I mean, we've got to provide opportunities more than building prisons.
I totally agree. So, everyone that has followed your current campaign and your past campaign, they know that you've been a strong proponent of hemp and cannabis reform. So, with so many pressing issues facing Alabama, why has this particular issue been so important to you?
Well, my business got put out of business on January 1, so that makes it somewhat important to me. We were the first in the hemp business in the state of Alabama, Honeysuckle Hemp Company, in 2018. And we've watched a federal government make this a legal product in the United States. And we've watched it now to the state of Alabama banning an entire industry that people invested in farming, that people invested in their stores and everything you can imagine. And then to have the rug pulled out from under them from senators that we later find out did not even read the bill and didn't realize they were putting an industry out of business, and from senators that have methadone treatment clinics. It's very corrupt, very crooked. I am all for natural medicine first and foremost. Not only am I for it, but I think Alabama could be a leader. We are a farming state, and why not use our knowledge as farming to join a global trend and become a farming leader? Let's be out in front for once in our lives on something and be a leader in this industry. You would have more money rolling into the state than you could ever imagine. But I take it a step farther. We could be a leader in the teaching systems. We have agricultural universities right here in Alabama. Why not be a leader in teaching professors of this industry at a global level? And not so we would be sitting at being a leader in the farming, the teaching. We would have so much money in the state that we really wouldn't know what to do with it. Quite honest, we could get every road and every bridge in this state fixed. We could work on infrastructure with it. It would be a stream of money. And here's the thing: we're building prisons. Alcohol, tobacco is lobbying $850 million last year to kill the hemp industry because pharmaceuticals sales are going down, alcohol sales are going down. And it's all because people enjoyed a natural product and now it became under assault. But I am all for, I have a belief, if you can dig a hole in your yard, throw a seed in there, cover it up, water it, God intended it to grow there for you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I thought it was crazy. If I'm not misunderstanding, that bill was passed in with the bill to reopen the government after the longest shutdown, correct?
That was the federal. Alabama beat them to the punch. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I had to follow the federal bill, seeing people don't even realize this, in about another 330 or 40 days, that comes into effect nationally. But it's not gotten close enough yet that people are talking about it. But Alabama, Alabama started off the year not able to issue one business license to anybody in the hemp or CBD business.
And I know those businesses wherever, those businesses were coming up. And like you said, those people invested into that. I'm sure many people went out on a limb to invest in that, and the state just pulled it out from under them. That is not okay.
No, man, I mean, it was bad, man. It really put thousands of small businesses out of business overnight. And I mean, I would like, personally, I wish I knew the number of what the sales tax revenue that it costed the state as a whole last month in the
Yeah.
first full month.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
So you've said here earlier, you talked about supporting a lottery. I've heard you mention this many times before. I believe you say that as a way to fund education, but is education the only thing that a lottery would fund? And how much do you think a lottery would improve the education system or any other systems within the state?
Well, the only thing I know for a fact is I know that schools are being built all across Tennessee and Georgia and Florida, and they're not being built in Alabama. They're usually only being built in Alabama if there's a natural disaster or one is basically falling apart. And now what they're doing now is they're combining two schools that are falling apart into one new one in a lot of places across the state. I mean, so yeah, I mean, here's the thing: 46 out of 50 states have the lottery, and so if you think about where we sit ranked in education, that's about where we sit, 47. The people without the lottery, yeah. And I was one of my friends, his wife is a teacher in Georgia, and we were actually sitting at a table, my friend and I, with my daughter's boyfriend's mom, and she was a retired teacher, and they were talking about their retirement plans, and they weren't even comparable. The ones in Georgia, even the retired teachers get so much percentage raise every year in retirement, but not in Alabama. I mean, we're just not not paying our teachers well. And I will tell you this: is when it comes to what I want to do with the educational system, I have a few things I want to invest in. And one is I want to bring some of the top minds in educational programs management in the country right here to Alabama. I want to recruit some of the best people from the top educational programs in America to Alabama and help us get on track, because obviously we don't know how to run a school system very well, because we're typically right around the bottom in every measurable category. And I will say this, just to get a little more personal about school systems: I do not believe that it is a teacher's job to go in a classroom and push political ideologies. I believe their job is to go in there and teach world-class history, math, science, and accurate details of all of it, and leave the political stuff in the parking lot. It's not a teacher's job to sway a student either way with their political beliefs, but that's just my feelings on it.
I totally agree with that. I just seen recently there was and this is a topic I want to get into, a data center proposal in a city, and a teacher had her class spend 2 weeks writing a letter to the city council on why they should vote against it or for it. But she was basically pushing her political ideology with her students. I thought that was just absurd.
It is.
I totally agree with you on that. And as someone who went through the school system in Alabama, I graduated in 2014, not that long ago. I totally recognize that the school system needs a total revamp.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
And I was going to tell you one thing, I try to explain to people. I am a businessman in Alabama. I'm not a political figurehead, and I've never been elected. And so a lot of this stuff I try to explain to people. You don't know everything that you have the power to do until you actually sit behind that wooden desk and you have advisors kind of let you know what you're capable of doing behind this desk. And so there is some on-the-job training and learning, because you don't just have something that teaches you how to be a governor. I tell people I can't find a book on how to be a governor for dummies yet. So
yeah, I don't think that's out there.
Yeah.
So, so I noticed in your campaign, you seem to try to bring people together. So Alabama, like much of the country, is deeply politically divided, and to me, that
Mhm,
is one of our major issues.
mhm.
So, if elected governor, how would you bring people in this state closer together and try to mitigate some of that division?
Well, one of the things, if you follow my campaign, you'll know I don't talk political party lines. That's just not a real thing that solves problems to me. You know what I mean? I want people to know, first of all, I I probably have the most diverse voting base of any candidate in this election. Every single day on our campaign page, there's several people per day telling us either through messages or emails that they've been voted Republican their entire life, but they believe in this campaign and the message that we're pushing. And so we've but yeah, it's just about not dividing people. You know, to be quite honest with you, you've got you've got the Republican Party candidates. They throw out red meat to their base. But guess what? One of the top in the Democratic Party, he does the same thing to his base. Unfortunately, the base of the latter speak of is not as strong as the first one I speak of. So, what is he trying to accomplish? He doesn't have any room to divide. He already has a smaller base. And then you have a guy like me that's just reaching out to everybody. I mean, I tell people in the state of Alabama, you have to have a D by your name or an R by your name to get on a ballot, period. Doesn't matter. And listen, that's just the way it is. But at the end of the day, to me, that doesn't mean anything to me. I'm who I am. My background is a 34-year businessman here in the state of Alabama. And the way anybody that's kept up with me knows that I treat everybody as well as I can. Listen, I'm like any other candidate. I get some of the nastiest attacks and things like that, and I just let it be and I move on. But for the most part, I try to unite Alabamians by anything that I do, any event that I hold. I always make it clear that everyone is welcome from all political parties. Anything I do online, all opinions are welcome from all political parties because when you govern for all, or at least that's the way I'll do it.
Right. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
that's one of our biggest problems as a nation, as a state. You know, you've got to agree with everything that this side agrees with, whether you really agree with it or not. I think that's just absurd, and that's one of the driving. That's the main problem in politics today.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about a really hot topic right now nationally, and that's ICE. So currently, there's a House Bill 13 that is moving through the state house in Alabama, which would allow local police and sheriffs to act as de facto ICE agents. Supporters say it's a necessary step for public safety, but critics argue that it'll lead to racial profiling and more division. So, as governor, I want to ask you: would you sign this bill into law, or do you believe that immigration enforcement should remain a federal responsibility?
It is a federal responsibility. We're getting into business we shouldn't even be getting involved with because that is a federal issue. And let me just tell you this, and I'm going to just speak candidly. I live in a rural community in southeastern Alabama, and some of the same people that are complaining so heavy, well, they damn sure eat the chicken McNuggets that come in at McDonald's
Yeah.
every single day. Their kids get something at Chick-fil-A. Well, guess who's processing that food? Immigrants. So if you're going to ban and want to do completely away with immigrants, give up lots of the stuff that you're doing every day then, because that's how you can get rid of them if you want to kill their jobs, because you're consuming the things that they are producing. So here's the thing. I'm 57 years old. I've lived in a farming community. There's been immigrants there for at least the last 40 years. Never in 57 years, honest to God, have I had a problem with any immigrant in my community. And that's the truth. And that's what I base things off of, is the things in my life. Well, if you take all the immigrants out of Enterprise, Alabama, the peanut capital of the United States, one of the biggest chicken producers and chicken processors in the state of Alabama. You bottleneck up the operations of the farming community, and it will not even operate. And so I'm a practical person. Listen, I'm all for getting the violent criminals out 100%. Get them out of here. I'll do whatever I can as governor to help get them out of there. But at some point, we have to be practical and realize almost everything we're getting at a restaurant or all is coming off the backs of immigrants in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you, as somebody involved in the poultry industry, that it is definitely affecting the poultry industry. Absolutely. And a lot of people do not think about that trade off. I'm
Yeah,
glad to hear that you do, because there are definitely trade offs. I
yeah,
mean, me personally, I believe in enforcing immigration. I think the main problem is the fact that it's so hard to legally come to this country. That's, start at the
mm,
source and fix that. But yeah, I totally agree. People do not think about those trade offs and how important those people actually are to our everyday life.
yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, everything at fast food joints, chicken wise, is coming off the back of an immigrant. I mean,
Right.
and I don't see a slowdown in the line at Chick-fil-A. I can tell you that.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. So, as you mentioned earlier, this race includes some well known political figures, including Tommy Tuberville and Doug Jones. Why do you believe you're the right choice over more established names? And how do you plan to compete with those big names going
Well,
forward in this election?
here's the thing. Here's the only thing I can tell you. Okay, when we're talking about Tommy Tuberville, uh, we have to have we want a governor that has intellect or not in this state. When you don't know the three branches of government, and I'm not trying to be funny here, and you're in one of those branches currently serving. I mean, Houston, we got a little bit of a problem. I mean, when you're talking about IVF in the in vitro fertilization in the state of Alabama, and your first response is that they should ban IVF where Alabama families can have more kids. Well, he didn't realize it's just the opposite of that. That's people trying, or yeah, I mean, banning that stops people from creating families. And then I'm just being honest. And then you go to the other side, and I know you're about to say Doug Jones. And so with Doug Jones, you've got a guy that's trying to run the same style campaign that was run in the 1940s, the 1950s, the 1960s in Alabama, and try to live off of a civil rights campaign. Well, that's not what the young people and middle-aged people in America are focused on right now. They're focused on making a living, having health care, having opportunities to send their kids off to college. And I'm the candidate that's tackling those issues. I'm the only candidate that connects live and uncensored. Some are starting to do it now, but I've been doing this for years. And I mean, we listen to Alabamians, and it's paying off in a big way right now. And let me just tell you this. When you talk as much as I do, every now and then you say something wrong, or every now and then you say something you wish it could have take back. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, why we're doing so well right now is just respectful honesty to the Alabama citizen.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's what we need more of in the political and the politics. We don't see hardly any of it these days. It's all party, 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 and so it's good to hear a candidate that is actually focused on the issues for the people, not just the party politics. It's
Yes,
really
sir.
good to hear. So the Alabama GOP, they just dismissed a residency challenge against Senator Tuberville on February the 2nd. Some voters see this residency issue as important, while others see it as political noise. How do you view it? What should this be a concern? Is it a concern that he may not actually live here in the state of Alabama primarily?
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you what's going to happen there. The Republican Party had the right to do whatever they wanted to at their level, and
Right.
they did. But what's going to happen is this is going to come back after the final voting tallies, and a court ordered inspection of this is going to happen. And then that's where it's going to get nasty. Listen, it's real simple. Turn in 7 years of state income tax. I mean, it's really that easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that because at the end of the day, when it goes in front of a judge, that's what's going to be required. So, yeah, this is going to come back up again. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't personally get into it because me running for governor, that's the noise for that campaign, not for my campaign. I'm focused on what I can do and what we can do. But yeah, I mean, just on a personal level, whether I'm Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, absolutely, your governor should live in the state. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I totally agree. And my concern is not to focus too much on one other candidate, but my concerns are is, he's just following one person and he's not, actually work considering the people and what we actually need. He's just following what the executive up top is telling him to follow.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
yeah.
But
Yes, well, what you're saying is 100% true. Yeah.
right. So I mean, I think this has been a great interview. I appreciate you coming on. I don't want to take too much of your time.
No, thank you, man. Thank you.
But I do want to ask you, so for viewers who may still be undecided, I want you to give a final message that you would like to share to encourage them to vote for you, tell them why you are the candidate, wrap up everything you've told me.
Well, honestly, one reason is I'm one of you. I'm not a suit and tie wearing businessman that it does that every single day in Alabama. I'm a guy that knows how to do construction, work on a car engine, fix PVC pipes that have been broken like I've been doing. I can do it all, man. I love the outdoors. I love the simple things in life, but I've been blessed just through hard work, dedication, ethics to be able to be a pretty good businessman here in Alabama. I love our state. I love our people. And I just think that if we'll actually all come together and stop this whole, I mean, Americans in general, man, I almost feel like the enemy has won and destroying us from within our country. If you think about it, I mean, they're sitting back in other countries going, yeah, we're at war with the US, but we're making them do it internally. They're at war with each other. And that's not what this country's built off of. And I'm just telling you this, if Alabamians will come together, give a guy like me a chance, and I've even committed, I'm going to do some little things like no other, if I'm elected, I've told people, we're even going to have every single week Alabama families into the governor's mansion table from every county to have a chance to sit. It's your table. It's your state. We're going to have chances for people to do that. I'm going to be involved all around the state. You'll see me in a football game, a band competition, a church. We're going to be involved in Alabama. I even want to do some things like an affordable spay and neuter program in the state of Alabama. I mean, I'd love to have all you guys support. You can check us out over on Facebook, Chad Chig Martin for Governor of Alabama, on TikTok, Chad Chig Martin. Our campaign page is www.chadchigmartin.com. We got a great team of volunteers. We've got a team of volunteers that is kicking the butt of paid marketing people that are getting to the tunes of hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. My people get zero. They're doing it because they love their state, and we all believe in our message here. And so we're all working hard. We would love to have your support. And I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing. This is huge. Man, you're doing good things, not only for the state of Alabama, but for the Southeast and the country. And you got a really bright future in this, man. And I wish you the best of luck.
I greatly appreciate that, man. I think you're a great candidate for Alabama. You seem very laser focused on the right issues. I greatly appreciate you coming on here. Not every candidate will do it, especially not live. You didn't ask me for any previous questions, nothing. You just hopped in here like a regular person. So I greatly appreciate that.
Yep. Well, thank you, man.
I hope I get the chance to meet you.
Yeah, man. Seriously, let me know anytime you need me, man. And when you're coming through Alabama, if we're in the same town, holler at me, man.
Yes, sir. I will do. I appreciate you coming on, man. I'll see you around.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you. All right, everybody. That was Chad Chig Martin, governor for Alabama 2026. If you want to go check out his Facebook page, he's Chad Chig Martin for governor on Facebook. You check out his website at www.chadchigmartin.com. Go support him if you like what he had to say. Please like, follow, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, hit that follow button. Appreciate you all watching. Thank you. Have a good night.